I'm going to use the Marc Jacobs Undercover Primer to prime the eyes, starting on the lid first and then making sure you tap whatever's left on your finger up under the brow bone. You never want to stop your primer anywhere on the lid because that can cause those weird lines that are really hard to blend later on. So I know I've filmed with this black backdrop before and you guys have said I look like a floating head, but I just can't deal with the white anymore. So we're just gonna have to deal with the floating head issue. So to start off, I'm gonna take my Shade and Light Eye Contour Palette and this furless blending brush, and I'm just gonna start buffing this orange color all through the crease. I'm gonna do mine a little more dramatic today, but I've definitely done this exact same look using the same colors a lot softer as well. I just kind of wanna blow mine out a little bit. So if you do wanna keep it a little more natural, just keep it more towards the crease area and don't go so far out past the crease or underneath the eye. I'm just gonna fluff that up into the bridge just a little bit as well, just for a little extra drama. But if you're keeping it natural, skip this step. Next, taking my baby Cosette 185 brush, I'm gonna get this, my favorite color from the Shade and Light Eye Contour Palette. It's really pretty reddish brown, and I'm just gonna start building on the outer corner of the eye. I'm gonna bring that on the inner corner of the eye as well. And then just softly join them up through the center. Go back to that furless blending brush, grab a tap of that reddish brown on the tip of that and blend that into the transition color that we already laid down. Any little harsh spots, I'm just grabbing a little bit of that light orange color from the palette and then just buffing over those spots. So for me, I've always liked to contour the eyes with a matte shadow. I don't often do looks where I'll only use like a glimmer shade all over the eye and that's it. I always love to pair a matte with a metallic, but you can certainly use just the glimmer palette by itself. You could use the exact same colors that I've used from the matte palette, from the glimmer palette for this eye look, and it would look gorgeous as well. That's just kind of, it's my thing. I like to lay down mattes first and then accessorize with shimmery shadows. I'm actually going to use these Kat Von D liners in a Go-Go and Homegirl. So recently I was doing a makeup on location and I completely forgot to bring my little tube of eyeliners that I usually bring, and I only had the Kat Von D liners. But luckily they were absolutely incredible to work with. I used Swanley as a waterline shadow. I used Crucifix as a dark brown eyeliner. Gully, obviously I've used that as a black eyeliner before and it's amazing, but I definitely don't just reserve those colors for the lip area only. They work beautifully on the eye too. So I put a Go-Go all across and then I'm just gonna use Homegirl on the outer corner of the eye. This looks quite bright right now, but we will be blending shadows over the top of it. I just want it to give more of a punchy base. So now I'm gonna grab the Shade and Light Glimmer Palette. And of course, I'm gonna be using this guy right here. So I'm gonna pat that all over that base that we just laid down underneath the eye. See how it's still that nice copper, but it's just got those little hints and undertones underneath it now. And this will also give the shadow something to stick to. I'm gonna go back in with my fluffy brush in this orangey shade and just buff underneath the eyes as well. I absolutely love this peachy orange shade for blending things in. It's not too strong of a color, so you can use it with a bigger brush underneath the eyes and it's not gonna look crazy. So next I'm gonna take the Kat Von D Glimmer Eye Brush and that shade, let's see what it's called because it's my favorite in this palette obviously. It's called Rust, of course. And I'm just gonna use that just to pat on the outer edges of that blend there. I'm actually gonna leave the middle free. I've been doing this look so often lately, so I wanna change it up a little bit and just do more of a pop of the highlight in the center of the eye. With these shadows, because they are shimmery, I like to use more of a patting motion to press them onto the eyes. And then I'm just gonna use the Veramona color switch just to wipe that brush off a little bit and change colors. I think I'm gonna grab one right here and just pop it in the center of the eye. The eye look that I was wearing in my swatch video was this rust color just all over the eye. So if you wanna recreate that exactly, then just skip this step and pop rust all over the eye. So make sure you're using that patting motion with this one, especially with shadows that have a little more of a glimmery effect to them. Because they're glittery, they can have a little bit of fallout. So using a pressing motion is key. Oh, I love this. After a blown out eye, I usually like to just use the edge of my foundation brush just to sweep the direction of the shadow around a little bit. I'm going to use a little bit of the Kat Von D tattoo liner, just a real fine line along the band. I don't want an obvious wing. This is more so just to make the lashes look a little thicker at the base. Let's see if we can do the other side as skinny as that. Just using little tiny tapping motions and literally leaning that brush tip right along the lash line. So I'm going to be taking the Prestige Cosmetics My Blackest Lashes mascara and coating my lashes a lot. This is my favorite drugstore cruelty-free mascara. And my lashes are crazy long at the moment because I've been using my Grande Lash Serum every night. I'm not going to do the bottom lashes yet because I think I'm going to use, I'm going to use a little bit of Swanley on the inside of the eye. You could, if you wanted to do it a little darker, you could use Crucifix or Homegirl on the waterline. You could even use a Go-Go, the bright orange, if you wanted to make it a little crazy wild. Sometimes I forget to do my nude liner before I put my bottom lash mascara on, and it's always a disaster, so try to remember to do it first. I kind of want a little bit of a stronger brow today, so I'm going to use this LA Splash Ultra Definition Eyebrow, and this is in the color Medium Brown. I'm wiping a lot of it off on my hand first, and then I'm just going to use a few little flicks through the brows. And then just a little bit through the tail as well. So as some of you probably know, I do have my eyebrows microbladed, so I do only use just a tiny bit of this just to give a little more to the eyebrow. I don't like super filled in dip brow looking brows, so that's why I wipe it off a little bit and just, it's like a feather touch to the eyebrow. You just kind of use it to flick it through the eyebrow. Even before I had my eyebrows microbladed, this is still the technique that I prefer to use. Careful to make sure that the front of the brow doesn't look too square. Really brush that out at the front because I'm paranoid of having block brows. And then you can usually, whatever brush you use for concealer, just kind of pat over it. So moving on, I'm going to contour the face. I just want to show you guys how I do this using these two palettes. Obviously I use this one a lot, and this is one of my favorite pale skin contour colors. BH Cosmetics Marble Brush in number 3. I'm just gonna... Herman. I'm just gonna use this along the cheekbones just for a nice light contour. So as I was trying to say before Herman rudely interrupted me, I'm just going to use a light amount of this. This brush is very soft, so it builds very sheer just along the cheekbone right there. That guy making all this noise was this guy Herman. Such a big personality for a little guy. I love him. I'm going to take this light peach, use that on the apples of the cheeks. Every time I ever travel, I usually just bring this palette and no blushes or contours because I just use these two shades. And then I'm gonna go and grab the Glimmer Palette. So I'm gonna just use my brush softly to grab a little bit of this same peachy color. And I'm gonna use that just on the top of the apples of the cheeks right there. If you have really smooth skin in this area, you could definitely use just this as a blush. But anything shimmery is going to pick up texture in the skin, and because I do have quite a lot of pores in this area of my cheek. If I use a really shimmery blush, all it does is just focus on the texture and the skin right there. So if I just use it on the tops of the apples, it's just giving a nice kind of sheen without being too overbearing in that area where I don't like the texture of my skin. So next I'm going to take this BH Cosmetics number 4 marble brush, and I'm going to use this guy right here as my highlight. First I thought it looks a little yellow, but this is such a beautiful understated highlight for when you don't want to look like you're glowing from outer space. See how it just offers that nice subtle soft sheen without getting too crazy. So obviously you could wear so many lip colors with this. I think Echo from Kat Von D would look really pretty, or a purple. But today I'm going to use a little ombre of Haze and Haze 2. So I'm gonna start off with Haze just on the outer corner of the lip. I'm just gonna do the bottom lip first. Same on the top. And then just tap it in with your finger to join it. And that, my friends, is it. Of course, after you've locked it in. Yay! I finally did a tutorial. So that is the Shade and Light Glimmer look that I've been wearing a lot lately. I wore it a little more toned down for my friend's bridal shower the very first time, and I did all the exact same colors except I just used rust all over for that look. But I do love this spotlight kind of eye with the extra little shimmery gold in the center as well. So excited for everyone that did get their hands on these new Everlasting liquid lipsticks from Kat Von D in Haze and Haze 2. So for anyone that missed out, I'm so bummed for you. Trust me, my friends and family in Australia, they missed out on this one as well, but I managed to snag some from the Sephora Everlasting flash sale for them. But if you guys love the color, then let's do a little petition below to bring back either Haze 1 or Haze 2. Comment which one you would want to see permanent in the line, and you never know. So a lot of you have been asking for a Shade and Light Glimmer eye palette tutorial, so I hope that was helpful for you guys. I definitely like the Glimmer palette in conjunction with the Shade and Light eye contour palette. I love a mixture of some sheen and matte together, but you can definitely use it by itself. So this floating head has to jet off to work today, but thank you for tuning in. Love you guys, and I'll see you soon.